Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to complete our tail tool. So the tail of a cat is normally one of the ways where it shows its emotions and usually some sort of playfulness with it. So we're just going to add a couple of joints and controls that will allow our animator to also generate the same expressions. So with that, let's get started. Alright, so if we open up our scene here, we'll see that our tail tool is actually our spine that's been properly rotated because we had fixed it in our last video. What we now want to do is just make sure that we have the right grouping of joints selected. So let's do a little bit of further organization of our scene. Look at our joints. The fake spine group was actually misnamed. This is our real spine. And this one is our transfer spine. I tend to call things transfer when they really are just going from a top level to a lower level, which is ultimately what we want controlled. So transfer spine. So the transfer spine we want turned off. That should leave us with basically pink joints to work with. The next thing to do is hide all our top spine layers. So that's just our poly spine, spine IK, spine curve. Now let's just grab these and just call this spine IK poly group. We never really have to touch that, so we'll keep that at the lowest level. We'll put this here and we'll drop the base into our spine poly group. That happens when we add an influence. So now if we look at how everything is organized, we can see how we can quickly have a scene that's extremely clean. Let's actually even go up one level and zero that out too. So our controls are fairly clean now. Now what we want to do is just create a couple of joints for the last tip of the spine. So we'll want to go into our side view. So create two joints. Let's go through this entire hierarchy and find anything that says spine and just call it tail. So let's go to modify, search and replace name, spine, tail. And so now everything's called tail. Tail rotate bound 9 leads to play tail. So let's just parent them. Now I'm going to go and turn this into an FK control system by parenting the entire tail together to get some nice rotations. So now we're just going to go create a cube. We'll stick this at the end over here. Going to open up the connections for this. We want the shape. We don't want the shading. We'll delete that. There, so this is just going to be an empty set no matter what we hit. Now we're going to go modify and we're going to freeze everything. Going to lock and hide every other control on it. Now we're going to bring up the connection editor. Let's actually just undo this lock. So we'll unlock everything just to make this easier. So we could see the tip is just going to be a little bit more playful for the cat. So let's zero out, make sure we check everything. And so one of the issues is everything wasn't properly oriented, so let's break these connections. Just going to orient these joints. And since it doesn't want to, let's just go in and manually change it. Across the board. All right, so with that set, let's go back to our connection editor. And try it again. So everything's working. Just the rotations aren't matching up to what we have here. which is fine. We'll just go in and manually set them up. So we want our rotate X to be our rotate Z, and rotate Y to be rotate Y. Z equals X. Just in case we need it, might as well do it now. So once again, we look at our rotate X, make sure it's rotate Z, rotate Y is Y, rotate Z is X. Close that down. And so there we are. Everything's just about right. Let's go in and fine tweak. And so everything looks about right. But there's a slight curl away, which I do like, but it also kind of bothers me. Well, we could always fix it later if it really ends up bothering us. But for right now, this tail is basically done. We have a little bit of extra play at the end. Oops. So we could zero this out. And so we're all set. So this now becomes our tail tool. So we'll save the file out as a tail tool, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next lesson. So I'll catch you in the next video.